Ready? All right. Well, welcome everybody to the November 15th, 2022 meeting. Official time is 6 o'clock. If I can get approval of the agenda at this time.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Mr. Tim Ingram, you're going to do our the pleasure of our invocation and pledge. We thank you very much.
Yes. Let's pray. Father, we love you and we thank you for all your blessings. Father, we just ask you to be with the men and women in our county, with our law enforcement, with our EMA. Father, keep them safe as they serve and work to protect us. Father, may we be a light. We all know somebody that's sick or has lost a loved one. Just let us be a light to the community and to our fellow man. We ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. All right, we'll move on tonight to our consent agenda and approval of the minutes, our first Tuesday of November 1st, along with our executive session of November 1st. Y'all had an opportunity to review the minutes. If things fine, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Is our visitors here tonight? I don't see them. Okay, we'll move on. If they show up, we'll go back to visitors. FY23 LMIG road selections. Share between Mr. Risner and Mr. Ingram.
Tonight, y'all all have a copy of a cost estimate. We color-coded the first four roads in yellow: Moore, Stevens, Dye Road, Smith Road, and Overland Way. Those are your FY22 LMIG roads. Went through and prepared a cost estimate on those four roads to take care of them. Moore Stevens, about 4/10 of a mile, full depth reclamation and paving. Dye Road was paving. Smith Road was full depth reclamation. And then Overland Way was an overlay. As you see, those four roads are about $2.1 million, roughly. So the other roads, 5 through 13, well, 5 through 11, were different roads. Jason had the different emails asked about paving of those roads. There are detailed cost estimates for those roads, 5 through 11. The animal shelter parking lot is 12, and the walkways at Highway 18 Rec Complex is 13. As you see, all of these roads total about $4.7 million, $4.76 million to do different things to them, various. So 23 LMIGs due by the end of February or first? End of February? First February. We're taking bids on these November 29th. If you want to plan on doing Moore, Stevens, and Dye Road in this year's LMIG, because it'll take all the money you have, that's fine. But if you want to use Smith Road and Overland Way for the 23 LMIG, I have to notify DOT before we open bids on the 29th of November, or we'll have to rebid it. If you want to add any of these other roads for 23, it's the same situation. I need to notify them, submit an application in by the 29th of November. Just wanted to make y'all aware of that. Questions? I know there's a lot of information for y'all to look at.
So we've got basically 1 and 2 would be this year. Moore Stevens and Dye Road would be this year.
You can do. You'll have money probably to do 1 and 4, 1 and 2, 2 and probably you could do 3, or you could do 4, and we could add something from the bottom of the list. I believe it was 830. Is it 838?
Yeah, and it'd be that double basically
Yeah.
if you combine the 2 years worth of funding.
So you'd have roughly $1.7 million to work with.
All right, Stewart Farm Road,
Yes, ma'am.
what's wrong with it?
It was on the list, and what we had planned on was 1.6 miles of patching, leveling, and resurfacing, starting at Friendship Church Road and ending at Little Creek Trail Road. There's some rough places
I
back in the
drove on
back.
it today on a bus and it's just fine.
That's fine. Y'all gave me the list of roads.
Tim.
He
didn't just make
So,
any up, right?
yeah, these aren't mine.
So if that's the list of
Tim,
priorities, you
on
have
a
exactly
question of
what you
safety,
want to
driver
do.
safety and
What
roads.
was that?
Actually spent a good portion of my day riding county roads today.
Uh-huh.
I talked to Commissioner Widener, Chairman Widener, as I did this.
You've got
Um,
$7,400.
I went down these plus many other roads today. I would like the safety issues addressed first, and, Smith is one of those roads. Morris Stevens is in pretty bad shape in places, as this notates.
Well, this section on Moore Stevens is the first 4/10 of a mile, first
Off
2,100
49.
feet off
Right.
49,
Right, it's in bad
which
shape.
is where it seems most of the problems are.
Is there a
Smith-
spring somewhere, like right up under there or somewhere? Because there's that pond that's right there to the right.
My guess is somebody probably didn't muck out all the junk that's in there.
Yeah, it seems like it was 2015, 2016, there was 800 or so feet of paving done on that road that was
Which road?
Morris Stevens off 49. And that's some of the worst area. I mean, it's like you said, it's got some really bad spots under it.
I'm looking at a 2017 list, and of course you had Comer Road, Jarrow Plantation, Griswold, Altman, Chambers, Otis, Royal, Confederate, Luke Smith, Whitehead, Liberty, Ridge, Bethune, and Ruby Drive. And I remember Morris Stevens getting done because I rode that on a motorcycle. It's nice and smooth. But these are some roads that have gotten leapfrogged and have been on the list for over 5 years. And I know we talked about doing road assessments, but for Bethune and Confederate to be on the list for 5 years, I mean, I know Luke Smith has been on there forever. I'm just curious when we're making the adjustments, how we're doing that. I know we talked about it, but I don't know that we approved, let's say, that these roads are happening over roads that have been on the list for 5 and 7+ years.
I mean, these are the roads that y'all had voted on previously to do.
I
with
don't doubt that they got voted on. I'm just saying we've had this running roads list, and somehow we're losing track of the ones that have been on the list for a long time.
Weren't these the first of the year road that we talked about, that are on there now?
Yes.
If that's in the list of priority, you can do 1, 2, and 3 if you combine the money, and you've got $7,006 left.
But y'all gonna have to just really in the next probably 28th, we need some idea if you want to try to change some of these and add them to next year's list. Just, if I open bids on them and we haven't submitted 23, I got to rebid it. So, and that's okay too, if that's what y'all want to do.
But right now, 1, 2, and 3, I mean, they're listed in priority as far as.
1, 2, 3, and 4 are your roads that are on your LMIG application for 22.
Which we've already, determined them earlier.
Right.
So I think it's two separate issues. The 1, 2, 3, and 4, we voted to put them on the LMIG list. We asked for the money for them. Now we got to approve them.
Right.
Or we're going to go back next year and add the roads back on them and rebid them and all that. Correct?
1, 2, 3, and 4, correct me if I'm wrong, have been approved. Money's been funded. They're out for bid.
Okay.
And the other 5 through 13, the different roads, the animal shelter parking lot and Highway 18 walkways, for different roads that y'all had asked for, that Jason sent me emails on, and we wrote and put cost estimates together on what needs to be done with them, and made some recommendations. I just know we have about 1.1 million with the 30%.
It's probably. So it looks like 876 plus 803.
So 22 LMIG is 876, and you got to add 30%.
No, that's with the 30%.
That's with
additive.
30%. Okay.
Mhm.
So you probably come close to do 1 and 3 on your list now, or you can do 2. But we'll see how bids come. And the 23 LMIG was how much, Jason?
I think. Let's see.
803.
Yeah, I think 803. I think I don't have the I don't have the 23 number here in front of me, but I think it's safe to say that the 876, we should have at least 876 again.
Yeah.
So if you do the 876 times 2.
So can we set that to the side a minute and go to the second item? The second item is something we have talked about. Let's see.
So y'all just table one, it lets you come back to it?
Y'all agree with Chairman, motion to table number 1 until after.
Second.
Second, any discussion? In favor, aye?
Uh,
And y'all can come
Okay.
back to it this meeting.
Table to 1.
All right, your 23 LMIG amount with 30% is 894,143. Y'all have talked in previous about evaluating roads and generating a road list. There are 2 proposals in front of you. One from Roberts Engineering is a group I'm familiar with, and the other one is from Public Works 1. Roberts has got the blue logo, Public Works 1 has got the gold on top. They are pavement assessment proposals for various county roads. They are nowhere close to each other. You can't look at pricing because Roberts, they come out and do write all the paved roads, generate a map. The map's based off of the second page of the proposal. They're green, fair, gold, and red. It talks about surface distress, structural distress, potholes, drainage issues. They generate a map of all the roads they ride, and they'll be color coded based off of that proposal, based off of that inventory. So it's 29.6. You get the software with this, so you can generate whatever reports and whatever models, whatever you want to do. It's a one-time snapshot. Public Works 1 agreement is an asset management strategy. They do the same thing. They take a GPS-enabled camera, they video, they pick up all your signs, and they put it on the web it's in a shape file in an Ezra document. It's I think $65,000 to do it. Let me tell you to be sure. 67.5. This is an ongoing strategy. This is something you're investing in. Because with the shape files and the Ezra documents, you'll have a layer that has all your roads on it. You'll have a layer we can add all the water to it. We'll have a layer that we can add all the sewer to it. So, and it, like I say, it's on the web, it's on the cloud. So you're looking at two completely different proposals. One time it can be updated, it can be added to. This is an ongoing type cost because we're in the process of mapping a lot of the water department now. We can have the regional commission, somebody put all that information into a shape file, and these folks, the Public One, will upload it. It's a training, Jason, Shannon, Leslie, whoever can look at, pull data off of, information off of, but it's got to be maintained. You know, when work's done on the road, it's got to be inputted, it's got to be updated, that type of thing. It's like I say, it's an investment. It's an ongoing strategy for asset management for whatever the county has.
But they train our staff, and once we get the shape file and once we get everything put in there, we update it in the software.
You can. From what I'm getting from them, and I talked to them several times today, like the water and sewer, we cannot add the water and sewer to it. We have to send it to them, and they'll upload whatever features we want. So I'm assuming anything we do, if building permits are put in this, we're gonna send that information to them, they're gonna upload it and stick it into the cloud.
And that would be an additional cost each time they do that, or?
As long as you have the module and you're paying for the module, no. If you don't have that particular module, yes.
So what is so this says one-time cost, is there an annual cost for the module?
Jason, is there an annual cost for the module for the Public Works?
Now, it looks like it's all one time.
So they would upload, if we did nothing, it would be 67.5. If we uploaded water throughout the county, it'd be 67.5. If we did water, utilities, roads, it's
Well-
67.
What they're gonna do is they're gonna come right all the roads and map them. Okay? You'll have a similar type map, except they're gonna set this file up on the cloud and upload it all to the cloud. So if you wanna look at it, log in, look at it, you can look in, log in, look at it, look at signage, look at pavement, look at striping, that type of thing.
Does it actually rate the roads so they have some idea of where the major problems are?
I don't know. I couldn't get that answer.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's huge. I mean, I get what you're talking about, and I really like that, having that file uploaded so that we can have an ongoing system like that, because that's going to be huge for water when we get there, that we're doing now. But we really originally needed the grading system, a third-party grading system, so we know where we are on the roads.
So it says in here, part of this is it gives you a pavement distress identification based on the remaining service life and the distress level of the pavement. And it does that for each segment of road. And I think, and the other, I think, does something similar. It'll rate different segments of the road and give you a recommended treatment, which it says there.
All the training from the Public Works folks is by Zoom. They do not come on site. They'll give you a Zoom link where they can share a screen with you and walk through it. And I haven't worked with them. I'm assuming that works well. But these are two options that we have found to do pavement evaluation, which goes back to your LMIG and your LMIG list and your roads that you do each year. And why some roads have been there 5 years and some been there longer, or some are new. Questions?
So the Public Works One agreement talks about a windshield assessment of the roads and gives, like Jason was talking about, the RSL and SHRP, alligator and patch and potholes, longitudinal, all that kind of stuff. Condition for each segment and network pavement condition is part of the deliverable. That, I'm assuming, is, I guess where I'm still confused is that an annual assessment or is that a one-time assessment?
One time.
So it's the same assessment that we're getting here on the map. This one is where the difference between 67.5 and 29.6 is the additional items that we may do, water and all that.
The county's already paying for the water module, so you already have that software.
And it would work with this?
And it works in this. We just have to give them an Ezra drawing, so they can import it and put it in this file.
Because if you're looking at additional services, so if this one is updated and it's in the cloud and it's updated, they'll teach us how to do it as opposed to this one-time fee. And we're talking about $195 an hour for the rate schedule for additional services. I guess to me, the comparison would be between 67.5 and 29.6. Are we gonna have enough additional services since this is a one-time deal and this is an ongoing system? Are we gonna be better off with 67.5 or 29.6?
The 67.5 is a long-term. The best I can tell between the two, the 67.5, Public Works One, is they're gonna set your mapping up and your GIS mapping up on the cloud. And you're gonna have all your road information in it now. So if you wanna look at it, you can look at it and pull whatever report off of it you want. We can add the water to it. We can add sewer to it. You can add other GIS-based layers to it and build on whatever you want with it.
Yeah, my gut feeling is Public Works One is a service, is a comprehensive, ongoing service, and Roberts is an engineering service, one-time service.
Pretty much.
I don't think we're gonna not do roads every year, so my gut feeling is that the Public Works One agreement is probably the better deal, since we can already add the water module.
The only heartburn I get from them is, if nothing else, I'm gonna give you a drawing that's got all your roads on it. They're gonna be color-coded this. We're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to go do that ourselves for this.
And there's no, they won't add that color, that road document.
If for additional cost, I don't know what it is, but,
So do they continually assess the pavement condition? I know it's they set it up, but 5 years from now, will
they have
they?
to come ride it again. They'll have to.
I mean, the
come-
Public Works,
Either one of them would have to come ride it.
but it's not, but they'll do it free of charge.
No,
So it's not a one-time.
No, the initial is one time. So
the
you're gonna
setup.
get whatever condition Stewart Farms Road is today, that's what you're gonna get.
that's right.
So theoretically, if we had a grading system 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, we would see all that, and then we'd be responsible for going in and looking at those roads and then updating the condition after we do the repairs. Or pay them to come back out.
I'd like to know what their cost is to give us a digital map of all our roads, like we would in Roberts, for the set cost now. And then what would a windshield verification of our roads or update of our roads 5 years from now cost? Because we're not gonna have to pay 67.5, I'm sure, because we've already got the software, we've got it all they're doing is looking, uploading into the software, so.
Big updates, all they're gonna do.
Yeah, so if we're talking $15,000-$20,000 every 5 years, that might not be a bad idea. But it's not a true one and done.
Read the fine print.
It says one time?
No, this, and again, this is, the Public Works there, is it is an asset management software that you build a database with it and look at it and do. So if y'all are gonna hang around a while and work and use it, it's worth the investment. But if the board's gonna turn it over to the next election and they're gonna throw it in the trash, then it's not worth it. I mean, cause you're basically gonna map everything you got paved in the county and put in the cloud, and then we're gonna add all this other stuff to it, and,
I don't think that the turnover of board should really affect that. That should be a policy, right, by departments that this is what's necessary and what's good for Jones
Here's what we
County.
need in our budget
Right.
to do it.
And just make sure that it happens, because at the end of the day, we're in this situation because somebody didn't think about doing that 8, 9, 10, 20 years ago, and probably when it was cheaper, right? So for the long term, I get it, and it makes sense, especially considering that it works with our water and sewer. And I like the idea of knowing where all of our roads conditions are, because again, I'm looking back at roads lists for 5, 7 years, and we're kind of all over the place. And it, because emergency happens, some roads get bumped, I get that. But if we have a true assessment and we follow it, then it removes the subjective evaluation of roads, right? I rode this road, it feels good. Wendy rode it, says, no, it's perfect shape. And then we pave a road that doesn't need paving.
well, the problem I think either one of these are gonna give you is that there's gonna be some roads that aren't here that are gonna come up and say, these need to be done. And there
And we
are
need
10
to know
houses
that,
on that
I
road,
think.
or there's 6 houses on that road.
Wow.
But this road's about to come apart.
But that's what we need to know, to concur with Sam. Because at the end of the day, we are picking roads, but it's based on somebody's opinion of that road, or we got a lot of traffic in that area, or we had a bad storm and now that road got washed out, as opposed to, we know that there are roads that are in terrible shape. And I don't ride a bus, I'm 100% confident our bus drivers will give us a different roads list than this.
Yeah.
So Tim, when you said Public Works will not give them a map like this to really assess apples to apples.
The base that you get is a little bit different. We'll go back and ask for the digital map like this, and see what we can come up with, see what we can get.
Because I know you mentioned we'll have to do that ourselves. Well,
We need them to do it.
yeah.
So is it in order, Chairman, motion to postpone the number 2 until we get more information?
Motion to postpone, we got a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? No? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, so are y'all going to postpone one as well?
We're gonna postpone one and go back to one.
Don't leave us yet, Tim.
Because I think we need to make a decision on 1, 2, and 3, at least on the LMIG, right?
Right. I think you gotta decide if you wanna combine the 2 years' worth of funding to try to get it some combination of 1 through 4.
Yeah, I think if these are our priority list, because I do remember what Daylon was talking about, we had a list of roads for years, and then when we said, let's use the Pacer system and start prioritizing, that road list kind of changed. Some of them even went off there, and they said, well, these roads are fine. So if these are the roads we agreed to and we applied for the money for them, and we got the money, now we've got bids out. In my opinion, we ought to go ahead and get as far as our approved money will go for the top 3 roads, and then come back with this information and start our real road list.
Do that as well. That's your motion?
So we would get 3 of them and have a little money left over, 7,000 some odd dollars.
Well, not if you need to set, where would the 10% construction contingency come from? Because 10% of 1.7 is 170,000, and you've got 7,000 left over if you do 1, 2, and 3.
I would, Tim,
Yes,
you
sir.
weigh in on this too, but I would prefer to submit, so if 1.7 is the total amount of the 2 combined, I would prefer to submit 1.8 million worth of stuff that would chew up the whole thing versus coming up short. Because when you go to fill out the application, sort of the administrative part of it's a nightmare if you try to account for money left over from the previous year. And it used to be easier to deal with all that kind of stuff, but they've kind of gotten difficult on that.
So we need to go 1 through 3.
Yeah, and you could just factor in the contingency in each one of those line items that would eat up all of it.
2, 3, 7.
All right, motion to approve 1, 2, and 3 on our roads list with the contingency in the project line item.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion?
The discussion part for me is, once we do this, we need to go back to one of these systems to really develop a true roads list. Because, I got some uneasiness as I'm looking back over roads list 5, 7 years, and they've been hopscotched.
All right. Any more discussion?
I think building in your contingency, you're like 62,000 over that one.
Okay, that's good.
All right. If there's no more discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Tim.
Yes.
Going to bid award, correct?
Yes.
You ready for Brandon on your hydro?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
First, I'd like to thank y'all for allowing this bid process. This is going to be a huge asset to our water department here. As for the bid itself, we had 3 companies put in 4 different bids for hydrovacs. 3 of them were 500 gallon. One of them was an 800 gallon. My recommendation would be go to line item 3, which is the ditch witch number 1 for $61,000. It's a 500 gallon. It's a little bit smaller than what we have currently, but it does not require a CDL driver. You can pull it with a heavy duty pickup truck or the dump trucks that we currently, the 800 gallon will have to be CDL and be pulled by one of the big dump trucks that we have.
That 500 gallon do everything you need to do?
Yes, I mean it's more smaller, more accessible in the smaller locations. I think it's 8 foot shorter trailer than the one we have currently. Again, it's on the back of a pickup truck, so the bigger jobs will still have the 800 gallon one on hand. So the bigger ones that we know we're getting into, we can always have that one there as backup.
Any questions?
Yep, questions?
So ditch witch number 1 is one he's recommending.
Ditch which one?
Yep.
What's the life expectancy of that, Brandon?
Take care of it a long time.
I don't have the answer to that one, to be 100% honest. The one we have now is 2018, and we use it every single day,
Okay.
multiple hours a day,
Okay.
anywhere between 2 to 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. It's still. I just had to replace the water pump on it. We've had a few valves on it here and there, but it's the same ditch witch. Every other one that I've honestly ever seen, I've seen more ditch witches than anything else in my eyes. I mean, that's just me, my personal.
I make a motion to go with the bid for the ditch witch number 1.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None. All in favor, aye?
Uh-huh.
Any
Thank you.
opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Brandon. Marketing agreement, Mr. Risner?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As you know, we've had an agreement with Genesco Marketing, or Chris Marr, for several years to obtain sponsorships for the recreation complex. And back during the summer, she indicated to us that she didn't want to continue pursuing other sponsorship agreements, and so and she said we were free to find somebody else to do this. And so I think at this point, this was a one-year agreement that had renewal terms as long as both parties agree. We've never formally executed one of those, but we've kind of kept this agreement in place. And so with her indicating that she didn't want to continue, we just thought it would be best to formally terminate the agreement, and then we'll begin the process of finding someone else.
Heard the recommendation, Ms. Risner. Any questions for him?
Motion to terminate agreement.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I was looking, I know you got quiet over there.
I was reading, sorry.
All right, so you gonna find somebody to do continue on with marketing?
Yeah, we'll talk and figure out if an RFP is the right approach or how to do that. We didn't do that last time, I don't think, but I'll do some studying on that and come back to the board with that.
Ms. Wagner, last meeting of December. Woo, it's almost here.
Yeah, our third Tuesday meeting is on the 20th of December, and I need y'all to vote if you want to have that meeting.
What's the board want to do?
Historically, we don't have that meeting.
Right. I got a motion, we got a second. Any discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Let's have it.
Thank you for reading my mind.
Well, no, was that a reading your mind or then? Okay, all right.
Motion, sir.
Ms. Wagner, you got old business certifications.
I had some questions come up on the certification policy. First thing is I need a date, effective date for this. And second, a lot of people have asked about college classes. Does this cover college classes?
I think there's certain professions that you can only get that training at a college. And even an HVAC certification right now is at Central Georgia Technical College, right? Or to get your license. I think that as long as our employees are trying to better themselves and it leads to a credential or a degree, great. Especially if they're already employed and working, right?
Okay, let me say that different one. This is, if they graduate with a degree for whatever job they're in, we'll give them the raise for that.
Correct.
We are not paying for them to go to college.
No.
Okay.
And to be clear, we're not paying for degrees that do not have anything to do with the position that you're in, right?
Correct.
We're not paying for any degree.
Well, that's what I mean, for,
As a certification.
Yeah.
There is opportunities for our employees through workplace as far as like CDL, hazmat, there's things that can be used if somebody wants
Different
to
water
better themselves, we can go
certifications.
forward.
Yeah, like the different water certifications
Right.
and all.
So there's opportunities, we can definitely, if somebody's in the county that wants to better themselves, well, obviously, we can get some assistance with that too, by reaching out to workforce. All right, any other questions?
Chairman, Shannon, I did have one, and I'd gotten a call from about 3 different people on it when it talked about the 10-year increase, 10-year intervals between increases. So if, I use a water department because we have several different license grades, level 1, 2, and 3, and they do different things or allow us to have different things done at the state level. So at level 1, water operator can't test for the same things that a level 3 certification will. So are we saying if we have a guy that's a level 1, he can't go to a level 2 for 10 years, or he's not going to get certification for it for 10 years because he already got a 1? Or is that compensated for? I know in other places that I've been, it's compensated in the grade level. So if a grade 20 is a level 1 water person, grade 22 is level 2, grade 24. So it puts you on the same scale, just a different grade level, instead of, that keeps you from having compression on your pay scale too. Because if you have somebody that's a grade 20 and he's a level 3 and he's at step 20, and you got a guy that's a grade 1, he's still on grade 20, but he may be step 2 or step 3. How does that?
Well, first, the position they're in, that's one of the requirements. You have to come in with that. For us to give you the job, you have to come with that, right? If that's one of the requirements of the position.
Okay.
So you're already getting paid for that, in your salary, what we offer you. Second, what are the hours of this class that they're taking to get those certificates? How many hours does it take them?
A minimum, the lowest is 90 hours.
Okay.
That's the lowest ranking you can get is 90 hours.
Yeah. I don't know.
And that's just the education. That's not testing. That's just to do your schoolwork, your coursework to be allowed to test.
So, is it the goal of every employee at the water department to get every certification they can get, no matter what their job title is?
That I don't know.
Is that what
Probably
you're
not. I
doing?
mean,
Okay.
that's a very, very long stretch of anybody to do.
So if they got another certification, would they automatically just go to another classification of the job? Do you know what I mean? As if they had come in with that certification?
I would have to ask the people that set up that did our salary study, because it doesn't look like that in our salary study, so I would have to ask them that.
So in maintenance, if we had a maintenance technician, do we have technician 1, 2, and 3, or electrician 1, 2, and 3, or just one electrician, one technician?
Yeah, it's just it's not.
Yeah, and that's probably, we have a smaller staff, so we don't have it. But like in Bibb County, in the maintenance department I ran, we had electrician 1, 2, and 3, and they were grades difference, between a 1, 2, and a 3. And it wasn't that we hired, so a grade 1 was an apprentice electrician. A grade 2 was 5 years experience and an electrician's license. Grade 3 would be 10 years experience and a master electrician's license. So that's the requirement to get to grade 3, but it's also the pay scale identified that. So I think these are probably one-offs because so I think it's something like that probably needs to be adjusted in the pay scale, not in the certification.
Yeah.
of
So
it.
in the scenario you just gave, they don't get a pay scale increase and a certification.
Right, it's in the job.
Payment.
It's in the job pay. So
Yeah.
you're on a higher scale. A 1 is on a 20, a 2 is on a 21, and a 3 is on a 22. So it automatically gives you more money than the level behind you, but it keeps us from having somebody that can go from just a water distribution person to a grade 1 to a grade 2 to a grade 3 in 4 years, and that's 40% increases. So
Yeah.
that is a problem for us because it's a budget problem,
Yeah.
Right.
big time.
Yeah.
But I think if it's on a grade level, but if you already got a grade 2 certification and you got a grade 1, he doesn't need to be a grade 2 because you already got that position filled. So there's no opportunity for him or reason for him to go to grade 2. And I kind of agree, you probably don't need 5 level 3 water technicians, but we do have to, if we're promoting bettering themselves, I definitely don't want to be a training ground for other entities to say we got 5 level 1s because they just got that and they got to wait 9 more years to go to level 2. And somebody goes, well, he's been there 8 years and he's got a level 1. I'm gonna snatch him up. That's a worry too.
But to clarify this for everybody, since all your employees are going to be looking at it, if they're level 1 and they get their level 2 certification, are they going to be compensated both in the pay scale and in the certification pay? Because that needs to be clarified.
Well, it has to be one or the other, I think. But I think the way this reads, you can only get one every 10 years. So it doesn't matter, even if your job requires you or would need a level 3, if Brandon would need a level 3, and he's got a guy that just got his first license, he's got 10 years before he can go to level 2. So he's 20 years out from being a level 3, certification-wise. So he can go and get it and be a level 3, but he's not going to get the benefit for 10 years down the road.
But he would get he would get the pay scale increase. He would get
If-
paid at level 3, right?
Right. If we put it on our pay scale as a pay level increase, that would that would supersede or would be in lieu of the certification, 10% for certification. You don't want to get both, because then you really got us a budget problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they would get a step increase, but not a
Well,
certification.
a grade increase, because a
Right, a
step,
grade,
yeah, step
right.
going across would be annual, the cost of living and the step raises to what they would get.
So they're gonna have to clarify when they get the grade increase or the step increase and when they get a certification increase.
I think we have to go back to the company to get on our pay scale, a grade 1, a grade 2, and a grade 3, or a level 1, level 2, level 3, water, whatever it is, a licensed water.
Yeah, because if not, we're gonna get these people certified and Macon Water Authority's gonna take them.
That's another thing. Do we need to add something in there saying after you're certified, you have to stay?
So what I've always seen is, if you don't stay 2 years after you get your certification, you have to pay what it costs to get you your certification.
Is that something y'all would want to add to that?
You also need a date too, don't you, as far as?
An effective date. Well,
Because if you don't clarify pay increase versus certification increase, then you're gonna throw back off your salary study.
Right. Also, yeah, I think the sheriff's department has come to me about it. They have so many hours of training that they already have gotten. Are they, are they just?
I don't know how we can go backwards, because where do you stop?
Yeah.
I think every policy is implemented at a time and date. And it is what it is. Now,
Look, can I just interrupt you real quick? With regard to the sheriff's department, I mean, they're on the higher end of the pay scale in general. And many of their certifications are a requirement of their employment, right? But they get raises beyond our regular pay scale. And we also kick in when the sheriff shows up, which I think is outside of the pay scale. But we do it because we value the work that they do. And I don't want to say case by case, and it shouldn't be, because it should just be a standard policy. Was the sheriff's department included in the pay scale study? No, he chose not to participate.
Well,
I think what we turned in information, they didn't on their end, but we did.
The school board in me says, what? Clarify, please.
I turned in all the information I had,
Mhm.
job descriptions, all, salary information.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody at the sheriff's department filled out the questionnaires and did anything like that.
So there was no director for them to do it.
No, I
It was a director from us.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay,
and
that's my point.
in all fairness, Commissioner, I think where that stems, and I saw this in 2 other law enforcement agencies, a deputy's responsibilities are a deputy's responsibility. A sergeant, a major, a colonel, a corporal, however you want to label them. Their duties are not different. You have difference between a jailer and a patrolman. And so those are defined in the job description. So I think, I won't say generic job descriptions, but law enforcement job descriptions are established. So I think it was probably redundant for, and I'm not defending anything, but it's probably redundant for the sheriff to say, well, let me tell you what a deputy's job description is. Let me tell you what a jailer's job description is. There are a few that were a little different,
Right.
but for the most part, the company could take them and say, a deputy in Bibb and a deputy in Jones and a deputy in Monroe do the exact same things. So that's how we're calculating our pay scales, but.
Right. And again, I only bring that up because when he came back, they used the pay scales from other counties to justify the pay increase, right? So that's outside of what we would normally do, but we accommodated that. So I'm not going to say they should be exempt, but at the same token, there is a system in place for them to get raises and additional resources that are outside of our pay scale. And if the governor says it's going to happen, it happens.
Oh, you was gonna say something, you have something else?
Just, I need an effective date.
Yeah. Was it effective immediately when we voted on it, or was it going in effect January 1st, or?
I think we voted on one.
It
Well,
has been
we
voted on,
discussed
but
it.
I need you to tell me if it was effective that
That
day.
day?
I'd say when we voted on it, it's only a fair way to do it.
I thought that's what we discussed.
So one other question though,
But y'all need to make sure it's clear to all of your employees, this, is it a pay scale increase or is it a certification increase? Because that's still, you're still sort of directing, Shannon to go back and get information from our salary study people.
Yeah, I think that's only for a something that has a level 1, level 2, level 3. So I think when you talk about certifications for, so I guess my question was gonna be, so did we account for a CDL license in our pay scale before we did this?
On certain jobs, yes.
Okay.
Because some jobs, it's a requirement.
Is a requirement?
Yeah.
And it did, okay. So if it's not a requirement, then they get a CDL to better themselves, the certification would go into effect.
But would that pay them higher than the job that you hired somebody with a CDL?
I mean, it would be,
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's where I was looking at, is do we have people that got hired on with a CDL, or got hired on, got a CDL 6 months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago, and all of a sudden somebody tomorrow I know we talked about that timeline there, but somebody tomorrow gets a CDL, and they've got less years of service and both driving a CDL truck, requirement truck, and this one's being paid more than this one, that causes problems. So we do have to look at some of them one-offs based on where they are on the scale, but it's hard to say if a guy needed to have a CDL license to drive this truck, and he was hired 10 years ago with a CDL license. I don't think we can go, okay, let's give him 10% from
well, you
10
would
years
get
ago.
10% anyways, I mean.
Or
the way it's
whatever,
written.
2%, 4%, yeah.
What about if we have a various CDL and a CDL hazmat, is there a breakdown between the two of those?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So I think our pay scale should reflect these here. So if you got a CDL or CDL hazmat, then your pay scale should be 4% higher for a hazmat driver and a CDL driver.
Right, that's what I'm getting at.
2% between a CDL and a non-CDL.
Right. I mean, you got CDLs that can drive tandems, or CDLs that can drive regardless.
So we want to make sure we've compensated the employees that have gotten that certification
Right,
in the pay scale,
right.
and then those that don't, that certification puts them on the pay scale where they need to be.
We're just throwing
So
a bunch
then,
of,
but then you're doing it by the pay scale, not by the certification pay. Do you get what I'm saying? Y'all are,
we're
I just
confusing.
don't want problems
Yeah,
with our
right.
legal issues where our employees don't
Right.
fully understand this and we're making this effective a month ago.
Right.
And I don't think the board's still clear about.
Yeah, I was gonna say, give Shannon and Jason some time to look at that and kind of, and obviously talk with you about the legal side of that, so we don't fall out of compliance, right? Because tonight, we're not there. I don't believe we are.
All right. Well, we've adopted a policy that we need to clarify.
Yeah.
So it can't go in effect until we clarify it.
Yeah.
Well, it's the date that's the issue, right? Because I said that if you're employed, you should be grandfathered in. To me, this should be effective for new hires. That's what I said, but
This is different than anything we've had before.
Yeah. But our certification should reflect our pay scale. So if you have a job that requires this certification and you don't have that certification, you're step 2 on the pay scale. If you get a 10% increase, that just moves you up to step 5. So I don't see the difference in pay scale versus certification, because if somebody else is still on that pay scale there and they don't have it, there's no compression and there's no inequities in pay scales.
So pause
Unless
right
that
there.
certification moved you above
But what
the
Sam was
current
saying.
employee that already had,
But
like the CDL.
Yeah, and those we have to account for.
I was gonna say
think.
clarify that, because you just said it. If they're over here and they get a 10% increase, they slid down the pay scale to where the 10% is, right?
And then they have jumped over somebody that had that same certification from 5 years ago.
That shouldn't have happened, because we did a payroll study and we levelized salary, so that shouldn't happen.
And I think that's where you're gonna have to get into the one-offs, because if you get one where a person is 50 cents an hour less and he's been here 10 years than a guy that's been here 5 years, and they both drive a truck and they both have a CDL hazmat, and there's a 50-cent difference in them and 5 years longevity difference, that's a problem.
Yes.
So
Well, then
we-
you've got to add into this policy that it's going to be, there's going to be some subjection based upon the pay scale, because right now you don't have that leniency. Do you know what I'm saying?
Is there some way to put in a line that says, I guess generically, should an employee be, an employee would be brought up to the minimum of that certification level?
Then you probably don't want to put 10% that it's a set amount, but that it would equal an amount to bring them up to the pay scale level for
And
that
tho-
position.
And those are only for people that already had it that were here.
Because what if somebody gets it and to bring them up to the person that already had it would be a 6% increase, not a 10% increase?
But actually, we can't crisscross this. If I earned the credential, I get my 10%. Now, if I just so happen to leapfrog Wendy, right?
She's gonna jump you outside.
So,
We'll take a bid.
but if she was included in the payroll study and her pay was levelized, then we should be okay because the certification is what got me to that bump.
Yeah, but now you're making more than her with the same certification, and the whole point of the salary study was that the employees on the same level were making the same amount of money. So now you're throwing your salary study back off.
That was the goal, right? But the credential is the exception, in that if that employee went to do the extra work to get the credential, then they should get the extra pay.
But this employee had already done the extra work.
I've already done my hard work, and I've been here 5 years.
I think in those one-off cases, because that's a one-time deal, I think in those one-off cases, Wendy should be brought to your level, whether that's 1%, 2%, or 4%, because then she's gonna be right on the scale, but it's a one-time deal.
So you're authorizing Shannon to levelize the employee that got leapfrogged.
Do we need to table this for another meeting?
I tried to
with
suggest
a
that.
work session? Or with-
Well, I think, let me go back to,
Okay.
the man that did our salary study, let me get with Ashley to get the
Okay.
word
Figure that out.
correct.
All
And
right.
do we have pay grade? I mean, do we have a level 1, level 2, level 3 on those pay grade? Because see, me and John are in the dark over here on the
No, I'm-
salary scale because we don't have a
with it.
clue as to what it is.
Because if you go to levelize everybody, then everybody that gets the certification
I didn't see,
and a pay increase, then everybody else that already had that, we've got to give a pay raise to.
So I don't think
And you're
it's-
talking about getting your budget out of line.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be as big of a deal as we think it is. Number one, we don't have that many certifications in the county. Number two, the ones that do have certifications probably have longevity that are already passed, where that 10% is gonna put the new person.
And
So I think there's gonna be a
they were
bunch of
getting
just
10%
one-offs here and there
increases for their
that we need to fix.
For the big certifications, they were getting. that.
All right. So since Brandon, I'm going to throw Brandon out here because he's here and can answer these questions for me. Okay, Brandon, I'm sorry. All right, so how many people in your department have a level 1 water?
Me.
Have level 2?
Well, all right. So y'all's levels are backwards. They're not.
All right.
3 is the beginner.
Okay, so how many got level 3?
1 out of 12.
Is everybody supposed to have that?
How many do you have to have?
the operators, right?
The operators would be 2.
And so you have 2 operators and 1 has one. How many level?
There's 3 levels to the water license.
So you have 1 person in addition to you that actually has a water license,
Yes.
and that's it. And have they recently just got that water license?
No, they've had it for a while.
Okay.
She's had it for a while.
Is there anybody else working on one?
Yes.
The issue's gonna be for him, you need 1 class 1 because he runs the department.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't have any 2s, but we could get it 2s because of population. So you need to decide if the water department, you have a class 1, do you need 2 2s and 2 3s, or do you need 1 2 and 1 3?
And
So
Tim,
that
you
would
need-
be that. Sorry,
Oh,
that
no,
would
go
be
ahead.
that would be those differentiating between the operator 1, 2, or 3.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Do we have that set up in that salary scale for them?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, because the operators are different than the techs. Are the techs getting this too?
Getting what, these licenses?
Yeah.
No, there's separate licenses.
They're getting something different.
For them.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
How many sewer licenses do we have over there?
None.
You don't have yours?
Me, yes.
Oh, yeah, so one.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So if you have
I
two-
I have all of them.
Say you have 2 slots open for level 2, like he needs 2 level 2 trained staff members. But you have 3 level 3 persons that go and get that training. But you don't have a level 2 slot open for them. So you just give them the 10% pay increase for their certification, but they're not gonna get the salary increase because you don't have that actual slot available.
Correct.
Do you get what I'm
And then
saying?
when they get
So
the
is that
slot,
10% gonna put them above the level 2?
I mean, I would have to
It
look at
shouldn't on, and if a salary scale is set right, that shouldn't. Because there should be a difference, more than ten
Because they're gonna
percent difference.
slide this
There should be
away.
more than 10% difference between a level 1 and a level 2, or a level 2 and a level 3.
And the only way it would happen is if that person had 10, 20 years and they didn't jump in. But that's a one-off.
And that's a longevity issue, so
Right.
you can justify that because they've had, years of service there, so, but.
What I am, and I'll just throw this out here, and I don't know what the decision is gonna be. If, say I have 4 maintenance techs that work on the pipes out there, and y'all only allow me 2 certified, and that sounds like that's maybe a discussion, that only have spots for 2 certified? Is that what
That's-
I'm hearing?
for your maintenance center.
Yes, or will they all be able to be a certified?
Everybody is allowed, everybody,
Okay.
all of our employees are allowed to be certified. But it has to be something dealing with their job.
Right, no, I agree. But what I thought I was hearing was that
Only 2 certified and 2 non-certified.
yes, and I'd have a spot for a single other class 1 operator. And then my second person who's trying to get to class 1, he gets to class 2, and he has no more room to go. Because he's not going to get anything for his class 1, because there's no jobs open for that.
He'll get the certification increase, but he will not get the salary because he's not in that position.
Okay, I'm with y'all.
Okay.
Any other on this? Well, if we can get a motion to table this to the next meeting,
Motion to postpone to the next meeting.
Second.
man, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Department head, finance, you got anything for us tonight?
Yes, I do. I have a question on item number 4, the marketing agreement. When should that go into effect? And the reason that I'm asking is because,
We didn't agree to do that. We canceled it.
No, you all
We terminated
approved that.
Yeah.
The marketing
The
agreement?
marketing thing.
Yes,
We
We
terminated.
terminated.
you
it.
terminated it.
Yeah, she's
terminated.
asking when does it go in effect?
but I need to know terminated as of what day, because
Today?
Today?
Well, it was terminated as of today, but this says that we have to give a minimum of 60 days notice to terminate.
Yeah.
So
But if
it's
she
terminated
quit,
as of today, but
but if she said I'm
Effective
not doing it anymore, right?
When was the email?
oh, I don't know
Yes,
about an
that's what I
email.
was reading
It's
during
in
the
the- When did
vote,
she
and,
relinquish
I don't have an email.
It's in the book.
Yeah, she relinquished
Page
her position.
41.
Back in July.
Some little bitty page.
Oh, yeah. She gives notice in July, we're
the
good.
reason I'm asking is because
Right.
I've been put in a position and submitted invoices for this individual. I get no compensation or anything. I was doing it out of kind of small heart. Do I need to call these individuals who she had me to send these letters to and say that it's been canceled? That's
Well, we'll still have them, they'll still be,
There'll still be sponsors of whatever they're sponsoring.
whoever we hire as the new person would take over.
Would
all
manage those accounts.
Right.
okay, but, once I get the money from that individual to sponsor, I submit money back to the individual.
That's in this position.
That's-
Mhm.
So as soon as they come in to pay me, I'll automatically do a check request and pay her.
Mhm.
So you telling me that it is,
As of the email would be July.
July 8th, I think. This is no longer,
because I just submitted those invoices
I have to
for
pay
July
this
to
eight.
December.
Continue to maintain a contract.
We'll see
I
how
don't
you
see
read
where
it.
the
she
8th.
quit.
it says I'll continue
It
to
says I will
maintain the
continue to
new
maintain the
contract.
contract. She didn't
For
quit
2
on
more
July
years.
the
She
8th.
said, feel free to recruit another person. to send
Another
over.
person, not a new person.
Not 2 people.
Yeah.
I agree, but she didn't technically quit on July the 8th.
Mm-mm. It
She
says-
says, I'm just gonna keep the contract and do nothing with it. So we're terminating it.
When's that big amount of money go out?
May, 2 of them, I got 2 of them.
Okay, so if we terminate it tonight, we have 60 days.
60 days
Right.
To notify.
per the
all
contract.
All right. We
But
got
the ones
that.
I submitted
So
last-
no additional payments would be sent to the current person in this position after 60 days.
All right. As of today.
So I sent
60
them out
days
last
from today.
Thursday.
All right.
And it was sent out Thursday, and that is for July to December. So are you telling me do not submit
60 days.
anything to her, because they will come in, those checks will start coming in.
Within the next 60 days,
Yeah.
we will still have to pay her.
Yeah.
Yes.
60 days, we'll still pay her.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? You good on finance? All right, Judge, you're sitting mighty quiet in
I
there.
am just listening to all the good things that go on here. Just want to say thank you to all you commissioners for your continued support for the courthouse, short-term and long-term. Particularly, Commissioner Mark came out today, gave me a few minutes of his time. I showed him around for some concerns that I had. Thank you, Commissioner Mark, for coming by. And any of you guys are invited anytime to come by and get the grand tour of the courthouse, including the basement, okay?
Ooh, I want to go to the
I
basement.
wanna go, I wanna go up to the top, you ready?
I do not want to go there.
Oh, darn,
I
I think
I
wanna
want to
go
go
there
there
too.
you're
too.
taking all the fun to see the bell.
See the- I can hear the bell. I'm good with that.
Just out of curiosity, he did have a leak near an electrical panel. Did anybody contact you
Well, I
about?
talked to Donald, and he was going to call the roofing people. Haven't heard back from him about that yet.
Okay, so
All the
further
rain is
area.
starting to, the panel's starting to buckle, like it might start to fall down almost any day now.
And it's right over an electric panel, about 200 amps, nothing significant.
That's all.
It's just dripping, FYI.
I'll check with Donald tomorrow morning.
All right, Brandon, you been busy tonight.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Mr. Ingram, anything?
Yes, sir.
I'm good. Boy, we're getting by.
I've talked way too much tonight.
No, you haven't. What? How about citizens tonight? Anybody tonight want to come forward and talk? Mr. Kitchen, you want to start?
No comments, Chairman.
Wow.
Thank you.
It's rainy and cold. They're
I just
over
want
it.
to say thank you. Haddock lights look nice. They were turned on last night, and it really lights up downtown Haddock.
Oh, I can't wait to
I'll
see
get
them.
through.
Yeah.
Ms. Ball?
I sent an email to all of the commissioners about family pictures to do a Christmas card for all of our employees.
Well, I think my daughters are arranging that right now as we speak for our family.
For your
That
family,
was
so
my
make
Christmas
sure
request.
I get one of them so I can do us a card.
You know,
I'll have
you
yours.
know how to get one of mine,
I know
right?
how to get one of yours.
They've already, I don't know who they got, but they already,
Let's see what I can do.
I'll even come take the picture.
You will be all over the country.
All
So
right,
we're-
John, when can I come take yours?
She can travel.
I'll call you.
Yeah, I'll travel on your expense.
I can't do it. Where my
Alright,
account's
that's
set
it.
up.
Commissioner Martin?
Just real quickly, still getting calls on Bethune. I've shared some pictures with Jason. There's still a raceway from about Smith Lane down because some of the old speed breakers are missing or broken. And she sent one video where you can see the cars zipping by. So they want to put speed breakers Smith Lane and then in between, so you don't have that quarter-mile stretch of high-speed chasing in Jones County.
No blue vets been coming through there?
No blue vets, absolutely not.
Okay, just wondering.
We reserve that for the highway.
Zipping by.
Okay. All right, anything else?
I want to know where my gift came from.
That is really cute.
Sam,
Yeah.
this even goes
We're not gonna have to
outside.
fix any more roads. We're just gonna get you 4-wheel drive buses.
That would be cool.
Wendy, pull it backwards.
Let it go.
Oh, it's too slow.
Ms. Vaughn, we gonna be here all night?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor, aye? Thank you.
It almost.
I need that one for the house. I like that. Need more torque.
I gotta get back on the diet. That's got too much sugar.